Welcome to the Manifest, Manage, and Multiply Money podcast. I'm Audrey Faust, the Manifesting CFO, and I'm your host. And on this podcast, we are going to hear real conversations from women who have built multi-six-figure, seven-figure, and even multi-seven-figure businesses. We're going to explore the identity shifts, the mindset, and the leadership evolutions that they went through in order to grow a business. You know, the things that nobody talks about, because building wealth isn't only about strategy. It's about the mindset and the woman you have to become in order to do this. Now, let's dive in. Welcome. I am so excited to be here with Donna Kendrick today. Donna is a multi-six-figure financial advisor, and she's also a widow, a mom, a stepmom, a new wife, a business owner, an author, a podcaster, and a speaker. And all of this stems from the sudden loss of her husband in 2013. Now, her mission is to help families in transition find the right next steps. Welcome, Donna. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you, Audrey. Been a fan for a while, so it's a pleasure and a privilege to be on your podcast, my friend.
Thank you. So, what I'd love to hear first about is share with us about where you are today, just what you're doing and how you're doing it, and what your business looks like today.
Okay.
And what do you love most about your business today?
Okay. So, for anyone listening, my name is Donna Jean Kendrick, and I am the owner of Sefton Financial. That is my maiden name. My dad was a Philly firefighter, blue collar, and told me he would never have his name on a door. So I made sure he did. So that's my one plug for my poppy. Thanks, Dad, for educating me. And so, so I'm a financial planner and I focus on families in transition, those in widowhood, divorce, and blended families, helping them understand where their finances are, make a roadmap for the future, invest their assets, navigate family conversations, prepare them for the future with, we call it protection planning through life insurance as well, and really be that other person to hold their hand when their significant other isn't there anymore and when life is shifting very quickly. What do I love most about my job? Being able to make an impact that I know is really going to follow generations. So I know that if I help somebody with financial advice or to be that trusted contact, because it's not just me, it's the accountants, the estate attorneys, the small business coaches, because so many people, when they have a life transition, will open their own businesses, that I can help inspire and share my story with them and help them make those next best steps, educate their kids, get their estate in order, update their beneficiary. So knowing that the next generation is benefiting from the work I'm doing with their moms and dads, helping them with that generation above. So every person I touch, I kind of feel like I'm touching 4 to 5 others, and then that next generation out of that. And that's a gift that not many people, I think, in their careers or their missions can do. So that is one of the biggest things, besides the fact of being able to retire my husband early. He was a carpenter by trade, left his career to help support my business. And now we're to the point where we can hire some more who's that do it a little bit better than my carpenter friend who admitted he hated Excel. And he can stay home and help raise the youngest of our 6 kids. That is a privilege of what I can do. Yes, to hear you say multiple 6 figures, wow. Like that is nothing I ever described myself as. And 5 years ago, I probably couldn't say that. But life has been very beautiful. I've brought in the right people. We've created a very niched marketplace. And we do that through podcasts. We do it. We have one of our own called Widow Wisdom and Wealth to help educate that widowhood community, people raising their kids and trying to either improve their career or reestablish their career, sharing stories from my own as well as other professionals to help them pave the way, right? So it's just a nice, good-hearted podcast being out there for education. We do it through authorship. We just published our 3rd book. So now we have the trilogy. one on widows, one on blended families, and one for divorcees. So these are the things that just I love that I can put out there into the universe, help so many people that I might not even meet through my financial planning practice. That's how we do it. We really live in mission with what I can do and what my team can do out in this world with our niched little marketplace.
Beautiful. Well, Donna, I know your story, and I think it's an amazing rags to riches story
Mm.
that is so inspiring. And can you please share about your story of from when you unfortunately became a widow at such a young age and where you were then? And you've amazingly created, as I said, this multi six-figure business now. And it just blows my mind from where you started. So please share with everybody where you started 12 years ago and what happened.
Yeah. So I was married to my first husband, Gregory. We had three beautiful kids, and we had lived abroad for years following his career, moved back stateside, and finally moved back to the Philadelphia area in 2013. That's where we were both raised. So most of our kids had lived abroad. Like that's where we raised them. So they had never been so close to family. So we were excited and about 3 months after we moved back to the Philadelphia area, my husband passed away suddenly. He had taken his life. And so that was a big whew, right? Like a big deep breath. Because not only was I all of a sudden thrust into widowhood, my kids were 8, 11, and 12. We had just moved to a new neighborhood, a new community. So I really believe in the supportive community. And at that time, I felt like, oh God, like, thank God I'm closer to family. I don't really have my friends. I don't have my network. I don't even know my neighbors all that well. And at that time, I was working part time because I had given up my career to follow my husband abroad, making $17,000 a year. So all of a sudden, I had to wrap my head around widowhood, wrap my emotions around what happens when someone takes their own life, and that's your person, that's your best friend. And I had to figure out how to support my kids, right? $17,000 a year does not match the salary that my husband was making, which was well over 6 figures. What do we do
Yeah.
now? Yeah. So like so many other people, probably I can't even because I'm a financial advisor, I can't actually put quotes down there unless I have resources to back them. So I'll say over 70% of women usually switch their advisors with the loss of a spouse. And that's exactly what I did. My husband and I had a financial advisor when we were younger, which really helped us get life insurance in check. And that's what I say covered my butt with being able to send my kids to college and keep my house, right? That was life insurance. And it also
Yeah.
allowed me to slow the roll and having to go back to work too quickly full time so I could actually help my kids navigate all of these transitions. But I go back to the fact that I switched to financial advisor and literally interviewed a bunch, found one that was a good fit, and slid him, I say, my tote bag of everything that was me and said, Hi, I'm going to go raise my kids. Can you help me take care of this? And he did.
Oh,
He did everything from what was an immediate decision to what was a long term decision to what I could slow my roll on. And one of the main things he did was give me a roadmap of how long I could stay making 17,000, working part-time so I could see my kids come home off the bus, get them onto the buses, and what salary I had to try to make in the future. What will make my plan work? What will make my plan go belly up? Because you have to remember when my husband passed, we lost his ability to save for retirement too, because I wasn't making what he was making. And so, yeah, like how it's future Donna we were worried about as well as current Donna at the time. So I spent a few years continuing working part time, and then I knew, the budget was up, right? I hate the B word, do hate it. Well, my spending plan was put into action, and we call
the
those the
jig is
oodles,
up.
right? Jig is up. We call it oodles of noodles and dye your own hair days. So people who might be listening, I am a blonde of all blondes, and I decided to just box my hair, box color for $6 versus going to go get it, lightened professionally for anywhere from 50 to 150. That's how much of a spending plan we were on. Add peanut butter to the oodles of noodles, and you have protein kids. Like who needs chicken? Like we were really tight. And at the
Yeah.
2 year mark, I knew I had to go back to work. I always say you can have a job, you can have a career, and you can have a mission. And with all this change in life and giving up the career I had loved already to go abroad, I wanted to do something in mission. And so I sat down my financial advisor and said, Hi, I want to do for other people in transition, widows at that time, what you did for me. How do I do it? And that gem of a person wrote on, I think we were at a Starbucks on a napkin, exactly what education I needed. I'd already had my master's at the time, but to go back and to become a certified financial planner, you need education, you need experience, you need mentorship. It's not the easiest of tests. And I wanted to make sure that if I switched my career, I was going to do it right. And with his guidance, I went back to school, studied my tail feathers off, and then actually wound up mentoring under him to be able to get that designation for my CFP. And 3 years later, hung my own shingle in the middle of a pandemic. That's where we hung Sefton Financial, and we really niched our market. Instead of being a generalist with financial planning, making sure we were serving those families in transition, staying in the mission of helping people whose tomorrow feel very different than their today. Husband gave up his career to
I
work.
love that. Whose tomorrow feels very different than their today.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. If you think back to the Donna making $17,000 a year, like, did you ever think that you would be where you are today having a multi six-figure business?
God, no. Like, you were numb, like, you weren't thinking anything, and I remember
Yeah.
always saying, like, I had thresholds, like, each year, what was my financial threshold? And at the time that I became a financial advisor and hung my own shingle, my kids I was getting Social Security benefits for my kids. And so knowing that, the first few years of opening a business on your own, like, yeah, it's the struggle bus financially again, right? So what did I have to make because life insurance was already either gone or repurposed for education for my kids? What did I have to make to replace the Social Security income I was getting as a benefit for my kids when their dad passed as my kids aged out? So I knew that each time my kids turned 18 or graduated school, I would lose their Social Security benefit. So let's put a number. If it was
Mm.
$1,500 a month, that was my goal that year as a financial advisor to be able to cover my basics and replace the Social Security. I had Irish twins, so the next year, another one fell off Social Security. So I was running, trying to make that income. I really was. And that's really how I paced myself. So to see the level of success that we've had now, or currently having, it has just been a compound effect of doing it right and doing it a mission and having the right systems in place, as well as a lot of hard work. Not telling you it was easy, a lot of grit, and a lot of support from family and friends. It really does. From everything from having mercy on you when you can't show up for that dinner you promised to be at because you're backed up on clients, to, hey, can you take my kid to baseball and I'll bring the kids home because I have a meeting till 6. Like that was hard. I was moving from gear of a very, how do you say it? Uh, when you're a mom and you smother your kids, what's the nickname for that?
Helicopter mom?
Thank you. Thank you. Going from that to being a career woman, right? And someone who's an entrepreneur, a business owner, right? A community advocate. How do we do all of that when I wanted to be the helicopter mom, right? Hard.
Yeah. You had a whole new baby that required a lot more of your time and attention than any
Good way to
child,
call it.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, what identity shifts do you think you experienced? Do you think mattered? Like, what's some of the biggest identity shifts that got you to where you are at multi six figures today?
I think one of the biggest things I've always had a business coach from the very beginning when I couldn't afford one. I think I might have been making as much as I was paying out on a business coach, right? Because I just didn't know how to do it. I felt like I was getting a late start. I was already 45 by that point in time. And I was like, oh my God, people have been in this for years. Like, how do you do it? How do you jumpstart it? And my business coaches changed along the way. They were very specific to financial advisors trying to build a book of business. And then it turned into what became, um, someone to help me with my mindset as well as the business. And I think that might be what you're getting to. I really
Yep.
had to get out of my own way. I had to get out of my own money blocks. I had to get out of the fact that I was a blue collar girl who had one parent working. And yeah, we had oodles of noodles nights, right? We didn't have that. We had a box of pasta, and tomorrow was the leftover box of pasta, right? Fight with your sister over it. Like, this is how it worked. To someone who's like, oh, wait, no, I I can make money. And when I make money, I can share it with my community and I can hire people who then share it with their families. I always felt like weird about the rich people that lived across the street in a bigger house, right?
Right.
Like those are those things I had
Yeah.
to get out of my own way from just being a girl who grew up in the blocks of Philadelphia with their dad as a firefighter, right? Like had to. And I did a lot of that through that business coaching that worked more on mindset and more on focus, as well as how do you share that with your community? Like, how do you be authentically you? I don't have it right all the time. I think a lot of people had to hear that I was a struggling widow, right? And I think a lot of people had to hear I couldn't make money decisions in the very first year or two, not big ones, because life was swirling, right? And it kind of gives them the
Yeah.
permission being like, oh, she's okay now. Oh, I can wait too. I can just cover my basis and then wait for that next decision. So I kind of modeled it that way. So I did a lot of tapping. I did, which is EFT, emotional freedom technique. I did NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I do right now the miracle morning, we call it. So I'm making sure I meditate every morning. I exercise, I read, I visualize, I do affirmations, I scribe, I write. All of that happens before 8 a.m. because I had to take care of the spiritual me before anything. I will tell you, the Philadelphia Donna Jean Kendrick had no spiritual side outside of whatever religion I was taught and grew up in. There's something very different between religion and spirituality, I think. And when I brought that
100%.
into myself, my business flourished.
Yeah. And that's, that's what this podcast is about really the mindset shifts you had to make. It really to grow to the place that you're at today. It wasn't just all grit, right? It was mental grit, right?
The work ethic can take you so far. It's a good thing to
Right.
have, but exhaustion can set in, right? It's funny
Mhm.
when you guys talk about grit. So now grit means something completely more. Like to me, grit was like, yeah, playing field hockey in college. Like, let's go, right? Like I will go to the max that my body will let me, right? And then we'll see what happens. Then I'll probably keep pushing it. Right? And I feel like that maybe is what I was for those first few years in business. But now grit means to me gratitude, resiliency, integrity, and that grit that I used to have, now I call it tenacity. Like, so I can
Wow.
now decide how to outthink something, plan it, don't rush
Mhm.
that decision, put it on a 90-day, put it on a 30-day, have a hypnotherapy on that goal for the next 30 days, right? To remind me that this is fully capable, right? And that's what gets me there. That tenacity to focus on the goal, not the pure grit of can I work later into the night? Very different.
I love that. Can you repeat that acronym? So it was
Oh,
gratitude, resilience,
resiliency, integrity, and tenacity. That's what grit
tenacity.
means to me. Very different.
That's beautiful. I'd never heard that before. I love
I made
that.
it up.
Thanks for sharing that. Oh, you made it up.
Well, there's
It's
nothing
a
with the
Donna.
book from Angela Duckworth, Grit. That was my inspiration for all of it.
Yes,
So, yeah,
yes. I've read that book as well. And it's a different grit. You're right.
it is.
So when you look at your life now, like what part of this success surprises you?
Ooh, the fact that I'm the breadwinner for the family, that it really surprises me. I didn't grow up in a family that had that. My mom was smart, but she didn't have more than a high school education. She was married at 19. She was divorced and left to figure out how to get a career of her own. And she did it because she was smart, right? But she always leaned on a man. Always did to make big financial decisions, to lead the way. And there is nothing wrong with that if that's the traditional role. But when you asked me, do I think I would have been here? No, because I didn't know anything different. Right. But when I hit widowhood, again, we always say like there's the lesson is in the pivot, right? Like that's where it is. Like, do I wish that ever would have happened? No, right? But what I did is I realized I can stand on my own 2 feet. And because my
Yeah.
husband struggled with depression for so long, I was like, oh my God, I've been actually running the show for such a long time. There's something to be said when
Mhm.
someone does pass away and you realize that you've still got it, right? Like the struggle was I didn't want to make the decisions for some of those bigger things because I was so worried about my kids. But when we came to everyday finances, macro as well as micro, like paying the bills, writing the checks versus how to invest your 401k, things like that, I kind of had all of that already, right? So I was like, oh, wait, I've already filled these shoes. And so now I just have to remind myself that it was me that was running the household. It was me that was keeping the kids together when he traveled abroad all of the time, and that I can keep going. I can keep going. Yeah, I missed him
Yeah.
greatly, but the logistics of life existed. Yeah,
Right. It's almost like it was preparing you,
maybe.
in some sort of way, right? Unfortunately, but it wasn't like you were not handling anything and then this was thrown in your lap, but you were handling a lot of the stuff and
Yeah.
then the financial piece got thrown on top of it is what
Yeah, and
happened.
with that financial piece was a drive to have a career that could support my family, right? Like, that was
Yeah.
the drive, where if I still had him making his six-figure income, I don't know if I would have ever driven myself to take the risk to have my own business. To have a lot of having my own business was to have the schedule that would allow me to see the baseball games and to go to the theater and to, yes, I might work late into the night, but I came home between 3 and 4, right? Like, to have that flexibility in my schedule as a sole parent, not a single mom, a sole parent. You don't get weekends off. You don't get anyone else on an afternoon. And sometimes I have a lot of divorcee clients. I'm like, whew, would have been so much easier than balancing that with like an ex. I don't know, right? It's subjective.
Yeah.
But as a sole parent, I that was the big thing is there was no one to bounce anything off of. And I don't think that if Greg was still on this earth, I ever would have driven myself to this level of mission, to this level of work. I don't think I would have. So that's the answer is no. I don't think I would have been here. I would have held on to some of that
Yeah.
traditional role. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. What do you wish more women understood about either money or success at this level, at the level that you're at?
It doesn't change you as the core person you are inside. Like, you are just who you are. I feel like I'm still the same person at 8, at 13, and at 21. Now, the woman has changed. The woman and how I interact in this world has changed, but my pure nature, still the goofball, right? Like, you can still call me a dork and I'll stand up. Like, I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, it's all good, right? Um, so just having this higher level of accomplishment in my career allows me to help a lot of people, allows me to help a lot of people in the community, gives me a wisdom of experience and education. Like, that's all very different and that is expansive. My job now is to share that to the next generation, to mentor through myself. But the one thing I want people to know is the core of the person I am, the the goofball you might sit next to at a conference exists. And no matter what level of success I get to, I'm still me inside. So you're not going to lose the essence of you unless you let it happen.
That's a great message, right? A lot of
I hope
people
so.
have the fear around, if I become, a millionaire, maybe, I'll be something that I'm not, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever. So I love that you share even through, going from 17,000 a year to multi six figures, like you're still the same Donna that
Yeah.
she was at 17, but with a little more grit.
More grit. A little
Going
bit more
back to that word.
sarcasm there, friend. I'm telling you, it doesn't come without sarcasm. Sometimes I'm tired. It just oozes out.
Was there a season where things looked good on paper for you, but, didn't feel right as you were building your business?
Mm, that is probably before I hung my own shingle. That was one of the
Okay.
main things. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I wanted to do it. I was working under someone else's umbrella, and I thought I could do it differently. I thought I could add a little, how do I say it? Well, I'll just say it. Less professionalism. I'm a financial advisor. You really come off as being polished and professional and you have your act together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also a girl from Philly, right? And so I thought I could add a little bit more love to financial planning, a little bit more hand holding, a little bit more personal touch, and less,
Yeah.
these are the numbers, corporate, I'm me, you have confidence in me. Does that kind of the stuffiness of it? I wanted to take that down. Am I as capable as everyone who's stuffy? Oh, yeah, right? But you also will get someone that you can relate to. You're gonna get me in the Zoom screen, right? This is it. And so that is at the point that I was like, if I wanna do it, if I'm taking all this time away from my family, if I'm taking all of this, I just wanna know that my way worked. Call it
Yeah.
stubborn. And that's why one of the main reasons I hung my own shingle. I was like, I feel in my belly. I feel in my core. It's called your intuition that this
Yeah.
can feel different and I'm going to follow it. Someone told me it was a misguided decision to hang my own shingle in the middle of a pandemic. They were probably right. And they probably said that to me because they love me. They worried about me.
Yeah.
They knew how hard running your own business can be, especially when you
Uh-huh.
can't see people face to face and you're trying to build, we call it a book of business, touch more people. But God, there was no better time. We had people losing the ones that they loved and not being able to get that right financial advice because we were all quarantined in our houses. When
Right.
best to be a specialist for someone who needs that and to be in and say, yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Right. And I've been abroad where I couldn't touch my family and I was in deep depression, right? Because of X, Y, and Z. I got you. I've been there. Right. So probably the best thing I ever did, even though it probably was risky, followed the intuition, but I had to. I just had to. There was no other choice,
Yep.
honestly.
That's beautiful. I mean, sometimes the biggest risks we take turn out to be the best decisions of our lives. Like
Yeah.
I can say that myself. And
Yeah.
usually the most profitable.
Right, and so my husband
So,
and I both, we were both I remarried, so I remarried, in 2022, and we always say something is like, we both grew up in Philadelphia, and we both bartended to get ourselves through college. So financially, we've budgeted and arranged ourselves with beneficiary designation and who we are and ownership that we're going to be able to keep our kids afloat, right? We're gonna be fine, and besides that, we can bartend our way into the rest of life, right? We both loved it, right? It's who we are. So if everything goes south, we'll bartend. It'll be fine, right? So we're social. So now we just have to
we
figure out
always
who's going to be the
we
better
always have
bartender,
that thing we can fall back on.
right? And back when I bartended, there was no espresso martinis. Now there are. I would rock those. So go ahead. Like,
Awesome. Um, so you do have a free gift for our audience. Would you like to share about that, Donna?
so what we have is called the Personal Document Locator. And so what that is actually a downloadable PDF. You can print it, you can write on it, or it's an editable PDF. And what that is pretty much a few pages that really say, okay, if anything should happen to me, this is where all the dedicated information is. Everything from what city were you born? That's actually something that maybe my kids don't know, and they have to answer to Social Security to try to get a benefit moving forward, right? To where are the estate documents located? To who's the name of my advisor, my accountant, my attorney? Do I have one? Right? To even things of where, like, there's a little checkbox being like, okay, so where is mom's wedding ring? It is of one of five places. It's a safe deposit box. It's under my bed. It's in the safe in the closet, right? So you can actually have an inventory of where all those important items are. A good place to start at one, having a family decision of what if something happens to me? My job now isn't just to help people that are in widowhood and divorcee. It's also to help those families that are strong, that want to protect the significant other should anything happen to them. If those are the people I can touch now through podcasts like this, then that's the best gift I have. Because having these conversations, so you're not a widow like me being like, uh-oh, now what? Right? Still not going to feel good. But if you can have that organization, get that personal document locator, put it in the front of your estate documents so that that's a roadmap of where everything is. So your executor can step in and know. Best thing ever.
And most of my listeners are women business owners, so that's even more important when when you have your own business to have that stuff in place. So, thank you for that amazing gift. I appreciate that. And where can people find you, Donna? They want to connect.
Yeah, lots of different places. So the easiest one is actually to go to donnajeankendrick.com. Yes, I trademarked my name. Like Tina Turner said, they can't take my name. I'm remarried. I didn't change it. Kendrick is from my first husband and I'm wearing it. So donnajeankendrick.com. And from there, you'll be able to hear about the books, our podcast, how to get in touch, how to find us for financial services if that's something you're looking for. And there's a lot of free downloadable resources there, even our podcast. So go in, absorb all the information, and wherever we can help you, let's do it.
Fantastic. And I have one last closing question that I love to ask all my wonderful women that come on here. If you could speak to a woman standing on the edge of her next level, what would you want her to know?
Oh God, just to jump, right? Like, just honestly, you're on the edge, just jump. You're never going to know the what ifs. Live for the next best moment. You make a decision. We don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just your decision and move forward. And please don't look back. Don't. You've learned everything. Carry life with you. All you have is your next best minute. So go ahead and jump. Yeah.
Hmm, that's beautiful. Next best minute.
Probably live
We'll
my
end
life.
on
Swear
that.
to God.
Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you so much, Donna, for being here and sharing your wonderful knowledge and story. And you're truly an inspiration of what you created.
I hope it was impactful. Thank you for opportunity to be here. Much appreciated.
Thank you for listening to the Manifest, Manage, and Multiply Money podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, please share it with another woman who's building something meaningful. And if you are enjoying this podcast, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a review. Leaving a review can help more women discover these conversations. And until next time, keep manifesting, managing, and multiplying your money.